come in here, you go hard, and you get what you deserve for going hard, not what you get for resting. So we'll, thankfully, we've got this guidance in place. And again, it came from SecTef. If you're not deployable, we need to put you out. And the Navy's program is very, very clear. And I think it's fair. The board, and I've sat a number of different boards throughout the Navy, including administrative separation boards. And it's a fair and equitable, program. So those who are living right, those who are doing right, they have nothing to worry about when it comes down to that. As I was back in Norfolk, I had opportunity to visit with the sailors at unaccompanied housing. And a lot of times, so that they muster about 150 or so, but their staff is only about 13. The rest of them are LIMDU or sailors who might be on a pregnancy tour. And so to talk to them about this the deployability assessment and assignment program was pretty fulfilling, and they had a lot of really hard questions. And some I was able to answer, others I had to get back to them on. But there is when you're living right, there's not a concern for that. So those sailors who are doing right, no worries. We're going to take good care of you, get you the medical treatment that you need, and then as you are able to serve, you will continue to do so. The rate of change, the pace of change in our Navy is such that I haven't seen ever before. I don't think it's ever been seen.
Even in my short time in, like 5 years, I've just been seeing so much change.
And it's logical things. One of the perks of that 3-star, 4-star conference was to hear directly from Admiral Burke, Chief of Navy Personnel. He talked about some of the changes. We have made our way into October. And what was interesting to me about this October is that we have come into an era where our professional military knowledge exam is now electronic. And so those sailors who are going to be taking the rating exam in years into the future, right? September 2019, there will no longer be PMK questions.
Those last 20 questions,
right,
or however many.
Yeah, it depends on the pay grade, right?
Exactly.
So those will go away. September of next year, it's the September rating exam next year. So PMK EE is now live, and so sailors can log in and start making their way through that.
And it's a requirement too.
A fact.
That's what people might not know still. It's a requirement. You got to do this before you can study or exam. Take your test.
That's right. It's a prereq, and it is. It goes back to when I first joined the Navy. You had to do your basic military requirements, and you had to take that test, and basically PMK, and you had to take that test, pass it, and then once it was passed, then you were eligible for your rating exam. So we have gone back to what a known good technique. Another thing he talked about, again, speaking of rate of change in this era that we're in and changing in a logical fashion, just like the deployability assessment, we're going with we're moving into an era where the rating exams are going to change to where NECs are involved as well. So you take a rating like Corpsman, which has about 40 different NECs, basically professions. So let's say a respiratory therapist will take you have basic Corpsman information on there, and then there will be NEC specific information questions that are being asked, and so you'll be rated against your peers.
Okay, so someone who's say like a dental assistant is going to take a more specific dental exam.
Correct.
That's actually really cool. I did not know that.
Cool. Yeah, it's coming down the pike.
Yeah, especially for something like me, like with media, there's just so many different aspects that you can kind of specialize in. So
same thing with ITs and so forth. And so there's a lot of changes that are coming. So it's incumbent upon us. It's important for us on our own to study and know what's going to be coming down the road for us. And one of the best resources for doing that is the Chief of Navy Personnel's webpage, and reading through those nav admins. You read through those nav admins, you'll see the changes and the things that we're working on. Super satisfying, but daunting, at the same way. I mean, we're considering what will it mean 5 years from now when a sailor to grab, their personal electronic device and do their rating exam.
I mean, that's
where we're going.
That is really, if you think about it,
that's a monster.
Paper exams, if you think about it, they're ancient.
They are.
And you could probably get scored so much faster too if it was online.
And see, that's what I want. You're thinking, look, you are thinking exactly the way I am. Give me the perks of this measure of technology. So give me a date that I will know, what my whether I'm advanced or not.
Because that like, what is it, month and a half, almost 2 months?
Sure.
It gets at you. It chews at you.
I've lived that life. Let me tell you, there is something about that wait. Now, now that I've got birthdays stacked up and my waiting is over, I think to myself, well, maybe there's some value in making them wait for, some period of time and so forth. And maybe there is, I don't know.
Maybe there is, but at this age of like people my age, it's that instant gratification that we are so accustomed to, and the instant being able to look up something on your phone and just know it in seconds.
Now. Yeah, exactly. And so we have been very, very aware of. We've become very aware of that, and so we'll start doing it better than we did in the past. So I'm looking forward to, watching from my front porch, how the change is coming along, and how the plan that has been laid out for years starts coming to fruition. Like I said, it just happens so much faster now than it has in the past. I'm looking forward to that. How about this new eval and fit rep program? So what we learned from the 3-star, 4-star is that we're still making progress on that. We're still doing test groups and evaluating whether or not this system is going to work or not. The science behind it all is that your spontaneous response to a question is more truthful than otherwise. And so the new eval program, series of questions that are being asked to the senior rater, the senior person that's doing the rating. And it is a 10-minute event.
Really?
Yeah, 10 minutes and you're done.
That's
I have spent hours laboring over E5 evals especially, and others. And so to be able to knock it down in 10 minutes seems pretty exciting. But they ask very interesting questions. It's
as
not
long as
just
it's effective, if you can get it done good in 10 minutes, that's great to
hear.
hear.
The science says that it's better. The science says that it's better than what we've had in the past, and that is. But it's also asking questions about your rating or your profession, as well as what type of person are you as well. So for us to be able to be a part of that is super important. And so that's neat. And there'll be more information that are coming out, the type of questions that are going to be asking, how the program is going to work, because the Navy has become, from my perspective, smarter when it comes down to getting buy-in. If you tell me how something's going to work, why it's going to work, then maybe you lead me with watching a preview of how it's going to work and how it's going to benefit us into the future. Then when the program actually does come, then I can say, yeah, it makes sense and I agree. But SecDef, the Secretary of Defense, retired General Mattis, has directed us to have 80% readiness when it comes down to aircraft availability. From my perspective, that 80% readiness challenge is going to be one that's going to create an environment where we need, we talk about partners and friends in over here in Europe and in Africa, foreign partners and friends, but that also includes our industry partners as well. And so it's going to take our partnership that we have with Boeing, our partnership that we have with other industry partners to allow us to get to that level of upkeep. Because if I don't have the proper tools, parts, and material, I can't get an aircraft or a ship or any equipment to the appropriate level of readiness. And so it's not just sailors, turning wrenches. It's not just pilots flying, and keeping their proficiency up. It's also a matter of our logistics system.
Those contracts.
It is. And, some would say, I just heard yesterday, some would say that the sixth level of warfare is logistics. If I can't get parts, some would say you can't fly without supply. That's real.
It's so true.
If we can't get the logistics taken care of, and so it's more than just maintenance when it comes down to getting those aircraft up and ready. So that's a big deal.
And that'll be a big task for the Airedales in the coming time.
It is. It's a matter of those Airedales and the leadership and then the management, right? So we were talking about the different perspectives from a 3-star, 4-star to the senior listed event.
Yes.
Those the folks at the higher level of logistics are going to have to really be on it when it comes down to getting their connections tight and smoothing out those rails when it comes down to getting equipment in and out, super important. So I just found the article.
Okay.
So SecDef has ordered Air Force and Navy to get mission capable rates for 4 tactical aircraft up to 80%. Up above 80% by the end of next September, a daunting challenge given the current readiness states of America's fighter jets. And so we've got work to do when it comes down to our inventory of F-35s, F-22s, F-16s, F-18s, and getting them in position to deploy. And just so you know, according to this report on defensenews.mil, is the aircraft flying and mission capable rates is about 71% right now.
Okay.
So to increase by 10%, as I said earlier,
in less than a year.
Right. So we've got some getting after it, but the good thing is this: is that our leaders oftentimes will ask more of us than we think we're capable of, and we find a way. We find a way to get it done. So
you might groan and complain on the way there.
Right.
And then I know a lot of these 3-star, 4-stars, they love a good challenge, and they love to see what the people can do, and then possibly outshine. I mean, more cases than not, I would say.
I'd agree. And it's important to speak truth to power, and I have said to commanding officers and commanders who may have been flag officers, I don't know if you understand, because you haven't done this before and I have, and this is going to be hard like a diamond. We're going to see if we can do it, but this is going to be hard like a rock, and I just need to make sure you understand that. In some occasions, I said, I'm not sure that we're going to be able to do it, and then we're able to perform at a higher level than even I, someone with a measure of experience, was able to. We talked about off air. We talked about the blended retirement system. So December 31st. Oh my God, the tyranny of time is just so real. And so if you're in the window for to where you need to make a decision on the blended retirement system, get to the part where you make that darn decision, because December 31st is the end of that, and then you'll be trapped in that window of whichever selection you have. Old people who say, back in my day it was this way, and the young people say, hey, this is totally different. What I would say is that, and basically it is someone like me saying, in my day we did this and we did that and so forth. And very frankly, sometimes old people romanticize about the old days.
Yeah, I mean, you always remember the good, you don't always remember the bad.
Right. I mean, I was there and it just wasn't all that. And so what I would say is that we have a group of young sailors right now that we are teaching in a classroom how business ought to be done. We are teaching online. We're just talking about rating exams on your PED, right? Personal electronic device. And the fact of the matter is that when called upon, they're answering the challenge of warfare in the very same way that we did, in my day. And we're answering it in place and on time, which is very important. And so I say to John Brandon and other folks who are concerned or thinking of these young folks, connecting the old days to these days, realize that there were young soldiers, sailors, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, airmen defending our great nation, as far back as 240 some odd years ago, and we're still doing it today, no doubt about it.
And you got to stay with the times too, because you don't want to get antiquitized, become ancient.
We don't want to become an antiquity.
Yeah,
I agree completely. We are coming up on the Navy birthday.
Saturday.
That's right, day after tomorrow, 13 October. And it is a time, that is worthy of celebration. And so Command Master Chief J.J. Gonzalez is going to be the guest speaker at the Navy Ball down in Sigonella. Okay. I'm going to be the guest speaker up in Stuttgart, Germany. I'm looking forward, to going up there and having a good time, celebrating our birthday. So everyone who is a part of the Navy, whether you are a family member or friend, a sailor or a civilian sailor, recognize October 13th as our birthday, and 243 years worth of getting after it. So make sure you're celebrating responsibly, and if you have the opportunity to go and attend a Navy Ball formal event, that's absolutely a good time, then I encourage everyone to to do so. So I think I banged out most of these questions and comments. Timothy Dry asked about higher tenure extensions, and that's a very real thing. But there's an instruction that talks about the change in higher tenure and the opportunity to request to stay beyond 20 years for an E6, for example, can now go to 22 years. Not ashore. They have to be out doing something hard, arduous duty.
Working for that advancement.
Darn right. And they will still be considered for advancement even as they go beyond the old higher tenure, which was 20 years. So I encourage everyone who still has some fuel left in the tank to serve to go ahead and get after that.
Outstanding.
Yeah. So how are we looking on time? Is that the end of things?
Yeah, looking like we're gonna have to cut it here.
Shut it down. Okay. Well, if I may, I'd just like to encourage all the listeners, those who are watching on social media, or perhaps be watching later once we get it uploaded to YouTube, that there are 10 two-letter words that I think I'm very confident will make you a better man, make you a better woman, certainly make you a better leader. And those 10 words are: if it is to be, it is up to me. Live those out, and we'll all be better.